Hi guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am here with my very first project as part of the Paper House Productions design team. And so this is just kind of a project to introduce ourselves and our style and that type of thing. And so if you have been here on my channel for a long time, you already kind of know how much I love this particular technique. But I wanted to start out here live and kind of tell you what I'm going to do because some of the things are going to be happening off screen just because they are kind of time consuming. So one of my favorite kind of things to do as far as my style goes is to take some kind of image. So today I'm going to be using this camper. So some kind of image I print online, and I'm going to recreate this with pattern paper. And then I'm going to go ahead and hand stitch the whole thing. So I've kind of already planned out the top part of my camper is going to be one color. The bottom part is going to be a second color, and then all of these lines are going to be hand stitched. I'm not going to have the door and the window on here, but I am going to have this really cute banner across the top. And so this is going to be the major design element that's going to sit down here at the bottom of my page. And I have two photos that I'm looking at maybe including. And so this is kind of my love of travel and the outdoors and camping and that type of thing. And so a couple of photos that go along with that. What I am thinking at this point is that the camper itself is going to be more of a pastel color palette. And then the accents on the page are going to be more of the bold colors like in the photos. So that this kind of plays a more subtle role and it allows the photos to stand out. So I have pulled out two of the different Paper House paper pads. The first one is the Marvelous one. And from this one, I'm thinking this is what I'm going to use to make my camper. So the top of my camper, I'm thinking is going to be with this pattern that has this gold foil detailing to it. And then the body of my camper is going to be out of this really pretty color with some little bit darker kind of mint stitching to give it this detail. So that's kind of what I'm thinking as far as the camper goes. And then I have also pulled out the color washed paper pad, which is one of my favorites because it has these really great bold details on it. And it already has this sticker of a banner, and it has those brighter, bolder colors that I want to include in some of the details. So right now my thoughts are that this is going to be the banner that goes in that kind of detail up here on my camper. So the way that I'm going to go ahead and start is what I do is I just use this as a pattern to create all of my pieces, and then I'll come back and show you how I get started with stitching. So at this point I have taken my template, I've cut it all apart, and I have created the body of my little camper here. And so my next step is going to be the stitching. And so around the top I'm just going to do an outline around the edge with like probably some light gray. And then down here I want to actually follow this design. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to lay my template that I cut from right over the top of my pattern underneath. And so this is going to show me where all those lines need to go, with the exception of over here where I'm going to have to create some of those lines. And I'm just going to use this. So I have my foam pad and I have my piercing tool, and I'm going to use this to create these lines. So basically all I do is I keep this lined up, and then I grab my piercing tool, and I'm going to go first around the outside edge. So I'm just going to show you here on this one part. I'm going to just make sure, and I'm trying to keep my stitches kind of similar distance apart. And then once I have that whole outside edge done, I'm going to come back in and also punch holes along all of these lines. And I want to make sure that I always have a hole where there is an intersection of the lines. So anytime the lines cross, I want to make sure that I have a hole there, because I know for sure that I want to have a stitch that starts and stops there, because that's what's going to create this kind of grid pattern that I'm going for. And so I'm just going to keep punching holes until I get all the way across and all the way around the outside edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and start my stitching. All right, I am back and I have put you on fast forward, and I have much less of a voice today, so I apologize for that difference. But as you can see, I finished up all the stitching that I wanted to do on my little trailer, and I went ahead and grabbed that banner from the color washed paper pad that we had talked about in the beginning, and I am going to kind of reorient it. So right now it is one big piece, and I want to make it into two. So I'm going to take that right end and reverse it with the left end because that's going to change the direction in the middle. And I really wanted that banner to be able to face those two different directions just like it was in the sketch. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab these border strips. And there's one that matches with the golden gray that's at the top of that camper. And that's going to go across the top of my layout. And then I grabbed this washi tape, and this is from the Life Organized line, and it came with this arrow washi tape as well as some watermelon. And so I'm going to grab just that arrow tape. And then right now you can see I'm working up there on my title. And so I cut that word escape out of that same paper that I made my trailer body out of, and then just backed it with some black cardstock. And then I'm going to use these little orange letters, and these came from the Marvelous paper pad, to spell out the word ordinary. So my title is going to say Escape the Ordinary. And I am going to end up moving those letters over a little bit further so that they are a little further away from the edge because I do end up wanting to put a little embellishment up there. So I am going to go ahead and take some dimensional foam, and I just picked this up either at the dollar store or at Walmart, super, super cheap. And I'm going to put it just on the edge of that photo because the photo itself is going to sit on top of my camper. And so I wanted the other side of it to be able to attach to the background paper. And because there was a difference in height because of all that stitching, I needed that piece of foam to kind of hold it all up. And then I grabbed that little sticker from the paper pad that it had a phrase in the middle, but I'm going to cut it in half and use it in two different places on my layout. And it's that one that has the little orange detailing. And so I'm getting to this point in my layout, and then I am kind of looking to see what else I want to add, how I want my embellishment clusters to look. And I decide that I want to do some mixed media in the background. So I go ahead and take all of that stuff that I have created, all those layers, off of my layout. And I'm going to go ahead and just use some packaging techniques. So I grabbed a couple of distress inks from my stash, and I'm just watering those down to make a little bit of a lighter color so that I can have some of this pink and coral in the background. And so I'm going to go ahead and add just a couple of different layers so that this kind of detail is going to peek out behind my photos and behind that trailer that I have created. And the colors in these distress inks match perfectly with the colors in these paper pads. So it worked out really well that way, that all those colors kind of go together really, really well. And I'm just making sure that I have everything covered. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my inky black spray mist because I want to do some splatters. And so I'm going to go ahead and shake that up really well. And then I'm just going to use a really small paintbrush to go ahead and do some black splatters because I do have some black highlighted elements. And that is something that you will see very typically of my style, that I like these bold colors, but I always like to have these black kind of details. So once that mixed media dries, then I went ahead and added in my little vintage camper and my photos again. And I'm adding some phrase stickers, and then I just grabbed some coordinating paper from the two paper pads. So I'm going to grab this purple, and that one is from the color washed paper pad. And then I'm going to go back and grab some orangish coral from the Marvelous paper pad. And I'm going to use my punches to create some labels and some little tickets. So I'm cutting a label and a ticket that match the body of my trailer, and those are going to go in my little clusters. And then I'm also going to cut some of these little tickets, and I'm just using my hole punch to make the ends of them actually look like tickets. And then these are also going to get clustered around the edges of my photo. So I'm going to take those and cut them in half so that I can use them in two different places. And I'm just tucking things in. So I know where I wanted my phrases to be, and I know where I kind of want some of the emphasis on my photos to be. So these are just two photos of me on a trip. We went camping out in the woods, and so one of them is sitting in the hammock, and then one of them is like looking up at the sky. The sun was behind a tree in a really cool pattern, and So it's just some of those things reminding me about, I absolutely love to travel and I love this being outdoors and away from the craziness that is my job and life in the big city. And I'm a small town girl, so getting back out into the woods and the wilderness is like a very it's an escape for me. I went ahead and grabbed some of these puffy stickers from my stash, and I'm going to put some coordinating colors together. And it worked out perfectly that I had three that would coordinate with three little areas of that banner. And I love the detail and dimension that this adds. So do not be afraid, you guys, to take those stickers, any stickers really, and add some elements on top of them. Create some dimension, change how they look to really give yourself some additional options. So I don't want my stickers and my layouts to look like everybody else's. So I definitely look for opportunities like that where I can make adjustments and kind of add just a little bit of a detail that's going to change things up and make it look different than what everybody else is creating with the same things. And so that's going to do it for this layout. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing how I'm using my new Paper House Productions stash. There's some really great stuff in this kit and some really great stuff coming. So I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and I will be back very soon to see you again. Bye!